But strangely, at this moment, I am actually feeling quite relaxed.
Hey.
Welcome to Working Title, the show where we talk about books, movies, and everything in between. Okay, I swear this will be the last vampire movie I talk about for a while. But I really want to talk about this movie. I remember seeing the trailers for it and seeing how cool it looked, and it's on Netflix, so I'm gonna talk about it. So what is The Invitation? The Invitation is a 2022 horror thriller written by Blair Butler, that's a lot of B's, a stand-up comedian with a few writing credits under her belt, and directed by Jessica M. Thompson. It stars Natalie Emmanuel, whose notable film credits include Game of Thrones and the Fast and the Furious films. However, she is also an accomplished theater actress. It also stars Thomas Doherty of Descendants and Gossip Girl fame, though he will always be Sebastian in my heart. The film was originally pitched in 2019 with Sam Raimi and Robert Taber set to produce it. However, they dropped out, and in June of 2020 it was announced the film would be titled The Bride and would be directed by Thompson and produced by Emily Gladstone. In 2022, the name was changed to The Invitation, and the film was released August 26 of that year, with a budget of $10 million, making $38 million in the box office. However, reviews of the movie appear to be mixed, getting a 5.3 on IMDb, along with a 59% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So what's it like really? Let's find out together. Spoilers for The Invitation, I highly recommend you watch it before listening to this.
Holy this movie's gonna give me a fucking aneurysm. Holy shit. Oh wow. Oh wow. That was a thing. Oh my god.
I have watched the best, scariest movie of my life. I cannot properly put into words how much I love this movie. So what happens? We're introduced to our main character Evie, who's working a catering job. Her friend Grace, whose name I had to look up because I don't think I ever heard them say it. That's on me, not the movie. But her friend gives her one of those 23andMe things, which kind of made me think of the movie Ready or Not. The main character of that movie was bounced around and as a result never knew her family. So she was more than willing to marry into that movie's family. I actually thought initially The Invitation was going to have a very similar premise. However, I was wrong. Sort of. I'll get to that. But first I want to jump to Past Me.
Okay. Off the bat, this is a million times better than Vampire Diary. The pacing is actually really good. It's the perfect medium. I feel like not a lot has happened so far, but we're already 26 minutes in, and it feels like almost no time has passed, which to me is the hallmarks of a good movie. The fact that I can make it through so quickly and yet still be enthralled, I guess, into this world. And the suspense. I jumped, I swear to God, when that woman appeared on the landing, whatever that's called. I had a mini heart attack right there. I love this movie. I love the writing. I love how it's directed so far. This is a really good movie. And I am so thankful for that, because I don't think I could handle if this movie was terrible.
I don't think I did the best job explaining it there, but I got the basic idea. The pacing of Vampire Diary, which I mentioned in that review, was all over the place. Sometimes it felt like it was moving at breakneck speed, but with this movie, as mentioned in that clip, I was 26 minutes in and felt like no time had passed at all. This, to me, is a sign of a good movie. The fact that I could watch and not really think about how much time has passed means they've done a good job at immersing me into this world. In contrast, while watching Vampire Diary and After Ever Happy, I was constantly checking how much time was left. With The Invitation, the only times I checked the time were when I paused the movie to record what I wanted to say. Back to the plot.
It's about time!
Hush, I have to pad out the runtime somehow.
That's a lie.
Alright, you got me there, Logan.
Come on, come on, go, come on, come on, go.
Okay, Jesus. I forgot why I don't do this joke anymore. You guys are so demanding. Anyway, Evie gets home and we find out that she's an artist. Specifically, she does pottery. Or ceramics, as she'll be quick to correct you. She does the DNA thing her friend got her and gets contacted by her second cousin, Oliver, who, until the end, was my favorite character in the movie. I loved him. Eventually, my favorite character became Lucy, but she doesn't exist yet. But so, Oliver and Evie get lunch and find out that Evie was part of a scandal where back in 1925, her great-grandmother Emmeline had an affair with a footman. He left taking the baby, Evie's grandfather, and raised it. After that reveal, Oliver says that another cousin is getting married and invites Evie to come. Invites her. You get it?
The original title for this movie was going to be The Bride. And I actually do feel that is a more fitting title. But it also gives away the big plot twist. So I'm willing to accept the invitation because it does also work. But I just want it to be known that I do feel The Bride would have been a better title.
Now, I do stand by that statement. However, like I said, The Bride gives away the plot twist. So for that reason, The Invitation is a better title. Of course, Evie accepts the invitation, and we're off to London. I was going to work a joke there, but I'm not that funny. Anyway, we get to the DeVille Manor, which I don't know how I didn't figure out the twist sooner, but regardless, here is where we meet Walt, the charming master of the manor. And, he's totally a vampire. This is not a flaw of the movie. They actually do a really good job of keeping that hidden until the big reveal. But, it's Thomas Doherty, who played Sebastian, a vampire in Legacies, and honestly just gives vampire energy. Evie is naturally drawn to Walt, as am I. I'm sorry.
Face the facts and come to terms, it's time to realize there lies.
Okay, I'm not. There's probably going to be a lot of simping for Thomas Doherty. Evie gets shown to her room where we see an old painting of a former lady of the house who died recently. I should have mentioned this at the beginning, but we're going to pretend I did this on purpose. The movie opens with a cold open of a woman escaping a room and using a piano string to kill herself. The woman in the painting is the woman in the cold open. Evie gets comfortable and faster. Later that day, Walt comes to apologize about his butler, who was rude to her after she ran into some maids with glasses, causing a few to break. They are so cute. Natalie Emmanuel and Thomas Doherty have really good chemistry, and I would love to see them do more things together. Later that night, Evie gets up to get some water and sees a maid getting sent into the library to clean it. While looking away, the older maid that helped her settle in earlier appears, which is where that clip from the beginning is from. That genuinely scared the fuck out of me. I also want to bring up some things I said during my watch of the movie.
This is a very interesting movie. I'm going to call this a horror movie. This is a horror movie. But it is very interesting. It's not very bloody. All of the deaths so far have pretty much happened off screen. But it's very tense. There's this looming threat, which I think was part of the appeal for Haunting of Hill House and Haunting of Bly Manor. While those weren't very bloody shows, there was just this looming tension that just never seemed to get relieved. And I'm very much getting that from this movie, and I love it. And here's the thing, I bring up those shows because I love those shows. I personally am a fan of Mike Flanagan, and Haunting of Bly Manor, honestly, is my favorite out of those two. But that's what this movie reminds me of, is something that he would have done. And, oh, Jesus, I'm, still recovering from that one scene. That was intense. The directing of this movie reminds me a lot of Mike Flanagan. Haunting of Hill House, The Haunting of Bly Manor. He has other shows that I need to watch eventually. But it reminds me a lot of his work, and I feel like this is a movie you could watch again and again and notice something every single time. Like, I love this movie. I love this movie so much.
In terms of the tension, I don't think I did a good job articulating what I wanted to say. What I tried to say was that the movie isn't very bloody, but it's very tense. There's this tension. The tension is forever looming over this movie, and it doesn't get resolved until the end. Which, like I said, reminds me a lot of the work of Mike Flanagan. His shows have this looming tension that you feel the entire time. I got that same feeling while watching The Invitation. I think that's part of the reason why I like this movie so much, because I love the work of Mike Flanagan. We cut to the library where the maid is listening to music while cleaning. However, it doesn't last long as she's killed by a mysterious figure in a cloak. Next night, we're going to a party where we meet Victoria and Lucy. I love Lucy so much. She is so bright and bubbly, and I love her. Walt takes Evie to a secluded spot, and the two of them kiss. Later that night, Evie starts seeing weird things in her bedroom. There's not a lot of jump scares in this movie, but the ones that are here are really good. I'm surprised I didn't fall out of my bed with how high I jumped. Next day, we're having a spa day! Victoria and Lucy come to get Evie to join them. However, after an argument with Victoria, leading to Evie getting a cut on her finger, she goes into the library and finds a file on her. Obviously upset, she starts packing her bag so she can leave. However, Walt comes in and explains that he had a file on her because when Oliver asked if he could bring his mysterious cousin to the wedding, Walt wanted to know who was staying in his house. He hates technology, so Oliver printed some information for him. Which, honestly, is pretty reasonable. I probably would have done the same thing. I love this movie, though, because this is the classic misunderstanding trope. And in any other movie, she would have left and it would have been a whole thing. But here, they have an actual conversation, and I'm so here for it. After they make up, they make out, and
then they do the old devil's tango.
Afterward, Walt jokingly proposes, and Evie, going along with the joke, accepts. I'm putting in another spoiler warning. Please go watch this movie before listening to this. I am doing this for your own good. After he leaves, Evie gets dressed for a dinner where we will officially meet the bride and groom. They have not made an appearance yet, and so this is a big deal. During this dinner, we find out that the bride and groom are Walt and Evie, which brings us to our big reveal that Walt is a vampire who requires 3 brides. 2 of them are Victoria, who has been with him for 500 years, and Lucy, who has been with him for 100. His third will be Evie, replacing great-grandma Emmeline. Evie isn't down for this and attempts to escape, getting put in the basement to stop her from doing so. While down there, we learn that Victoria was the one in Evie's room when she was seeing things. I also love how Lucy tries to sell Evie on being a vampire. I mean, she convinced me. Evie eventually escapes and tries to seek help from some elderly store owners. However, we learn that they are somehow related to the DeVilles. We cut to the wedding where Evie drinks Walt's blood, putting her in transition. She burns down the church. I accidentally almost wrote burn down the children. As far as I know, there are no children. Victoria, angry, tries to kill Evie, but Lucy steps in and impales Victoria and herself on a statue, killing them both. Walt, having aged significantly after getting a stake to the chest, attempts to kill Evie, but she gets the upper hand by cutting off his hand and she kicks him into the fire, killing him and making her human again. She finally gets to go home and 2 weeks later is killing the people that survived the fire with grace. So that was The Invitation. I don't think I can say enough how much I love this movie. This is probably the best movie I've watched for this show. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to suggest episodes, get updates on episodes, or you just want to chat, follow me on Twitter at ashleymariewt, or you can email me at ashleymariewt@gmail.com. And until next time, peace out.
On to the next